my contacts. Hello, hi, what is up guys? Candace B here. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. Welcome back to my subscribers and welcome to my new ones. I hope you guys have enjoyed your long weekend. So today I'm going to be doing a story time, and it's a story time that quite a few people have requested to hear about. So I was just like, sure, why not? I thought that today I would share the story time of how I was a victim in a scenario, in a situation that caused me to rack up thousands and thousands of dollars in debt. This happened in 2015-ish. To be honest, I don't even remember what I had for breakfast yesterday, so my memory is not the greatest, but this situation I went through back in 2015 was pretty traumatic, so I can remember the more important parts, so that's what I'll be sharing with you guys today. Don't want this video to be too long, so let me give you guys just a really brief background summary of just how this all started, just to give some context for y'all. Basically, I dated this guy after high school, whatever, met him through mutual friends. So at the time, he was an aspiring like artist or whatever, like a singer, so he was trying to like pursue that, and I thought that was so cool and whatnot. At one point, a couple years into our relationship or whatever, he introduced me to his cousin and his cousin's partner, who the partner was his manager. So I feel like I'm going to have to use like fake names just so I can remember what's going on. Okay, so let's say the guy I dated, his name was Jared. So Jared was my boyfriend at the time, and he introduced me to his cousin, and let's say her name was Kimberly. So Kimberly also had a partner named Felix. I literally had to just like Google a name because I'm not good at this. Okay, so yes, so Jared introduced me to Kimberly and Felix, and Kimberly and Felix were together or whatever. So Felix was Jared's manager. So I was in school and like just kind of sad and going through life and just being a young adult trying to figure myself out. And you know, they showed me this different type of lifestyle. Like I would be at the studio with them and just like hanging out, and they would take me all these different places. So it was really different for me. It was more like exciting in terms of just a lifestyle, and I was just like, this is really cool. And I really believed in Jared. I thought that he was gonna become this like huge, you know, star. So I'm just like, me being a supportive person, of course I'm gonna support him, and then, you know, I'll be there when he, you know, gets to the top, and like it'll be like, oh yeah, my girl was with me, da-da-da. So that was my thought process this entire time, right? So basically from early on, I was pretty much willing to do anything for this guy just to like help him get to where he needs to be. But that was just me being naive. Like I had no idea about anything. Like my parents sheltered me. When I say sheltered, they sheltered me, and bless their hearts, because they're just giving me a life that they never had, right? They're just giving me everything that they thought that I needed and wanted, so I never went without. So I was just, honestly, looking back, I was just a spoiled brat. So just to keep the timelines on track, so 2011 is when I started dating Jared. 2015-ish was when I met Kimberly and Felix. And I remember this particular time so vividly. So it was 2015, and my family and I were planning to go to Europe. So my parents made this trip, and we were gonna go everywhere. We were gonna go to England, France, Switzerland, Italy. And of course, me being excited, you know, I'm hanging out at the studio with, you know, my ex and Kimberly and Felix. And so of course I casually just let them know, like, yeah, like I'm going to Europe, I'm so excited. And like I'm telling them, you know, my mom's from England and stuff like that, so we're gonna visit family in England. And I'm just being, you know, a casual, relaxed person around people who I thought were really good people, because mind you, they made me feel so comfortable from the beginning. Extremely comfortable, extremely warm people, very happy, very nice, you know what I mean? So it was just it wasn't hard to warm up to them. And me being someone who's naive, I saw these people and I was like, okay, well, this is my boyfriend's people, of course, you know, then they must be good. So yeah, they made me feel very, very comfortable, and I shared with them that I was, you know, going to Europe. So I feel like me sharing that with them, it might have planted a seed in their mind that, hey, maybe this girl has money. Like this is just me kind of thinking back, because I always try to figure out why me? Like, what was the point of this all happening? I know that I kind of put myself in the situation, and I'll explain a bit later, but a lot of times I used to think like, okay, why me? Like, why did they choose me out of all the people that they could have tried to like finesse? Why me? So yeah, I feel like that was one reason. I also would tell them like, you know, I really want a car, I just don't know how to go about getting one. I felt like getting a car on my own would have been the biggest step into adulthood, and I just really wanted a car so bad. Like, that was just all that was on my mind. I hated the bus. I hated standing around people and stuff like that. So that was just always on my mind. And so of course I told Felix that, you know, I wanted a car and stuff like that. Mind you, these are people who made it seem like they had money. They made it seem like, you know, they lived that lifestyle and stuff like that. So he was like, oh yeah, like I can definitely help you get a car. You know, the first thing is you have to build your credit. And me at the time, my parents didn't really teach me about credit because I was still young. I didn't need a credit card. I had no bills or anything like that. So, you know, it was never a conversation. So that was really the first time I heard about credit even being needed for things like that, like purchasing things. So he told me,
yeah, you need to build your credit. I can help you build your credit.
So I was like, sure, no problem. That sounds like a great idea, because how else am I gonna build my credit? I can't build my own credit. I don't even know what credit is. Let this guy build my credit for me. I know what you guys are thinking. And this is a judgment-free channel, okay? So don't come for me, and don't come for how naive I was. I was young, okay? I had just entered my 20s. I was still a baby. Now I'm almost 30. I'm 26, okay? I've learned a lot, so don't judge me, okay? Thank you. So anyways, it's funny to laugh at now and just look back, because it's like it's been so many years and I'm in such a better, different place, and I've learned so much. But just to look back, I'm like, damn Candace, damn it. But yeah, basically from what I remember is that he kind of came up with a game plan, and I remember, oh man, what was it? They were trying to do something. I don't know if they were trying to do something. I remember them trying to do something for Jared's career, and it was like, man, I forget. There was some sort of catalyst for why, you know, I was chosen to do something. So yeah, anyways, long story short, I guess no one else could do it because Jared had a friend who was a producer, and mind you, I taught them both how to play the piano. So fun fact, guys, I play the piano. I have graduated grade 10 of the Royal Conservatory of Music. So just call me Alicia Keys, baby. Just kidding. No, I love her though. That was my idol. So I guess those two, Jared and his producer, like they couldn't do whatever it was. Like it had to do with credit. And when I realized after is because both of them had crappy credit scores and my credit was untouched. I've never touched my credit. Basically, they came up with this plan where it's like, okay, we're going to, you know, take out some credit cards in your name. You can give the credit cards to us. We'll use it and we'll just pay it off as we go along. Okay, cool. I never even questioned it. I never saw a problem with it. I'm pretty sure now looking back in hindsight that my intuition was like, yes, don't do it. But I just wanted that lifestyle. I wanted a car. I wanted, you know, all these nice things at the time. I was definitely chasing that just like materialistic lifestyle back then, and it caught up with me. It was so weird too. There were so many weird situations where they would tell me, you know, don't tell anybody. So right away I couldn't tell my parents, I couldn't tell my brothers, I couldn't tell my friends. And it was just weird because I was just like, okay, I won't tell them. And I know in the back of my head, I was just like, why can't I tell them? And I wish I had more of a backbone because I could have simply asked, why don't you want me to tell them? But I never questioned it. I really didn't question it. I never told anyone anything. And it's crazy because if you ask my friends now, they remember, they're like, yeah, Candace, there was a point where you were very distant from us. You were very, like, they felt it. It's so crazy how, you know, they actually realized that, or they sensed that something was going on, but they didn't know what it was. And I didn't realize, I didn't know that I was actually changing, like how I was acting. I was changing. I was becoming very sketchy. I was very like low key. They'd be like, oh, how are you and Jared? I'd be like, good. Like, you know, I wouldn't say much. So it's crazy that, you know, they were noticing things, but they didn't know what to do. I remember at the time I was working at Boston Pizza, and oh my gosh, I hated that job so much. But yeah, so at the time I was working there, and I just remember this one time, there's probably more than one time where it's like they would call me and be like, oh, like you have to leave work now, like we have a meeting, we have to do this. And I'm just like, I'm literally in the middle of my shift. How am I gonna leave when I have people I'm already serving and stuff like that, no one to cover me? And I would have to like fake cry and be like, my stomach hurts. Mind you, there were multiple meetings. I don't even know over how long. It felt long. It felt like months and months, but it could have just been weeks. I don't know. Like literally, it's all a blur right now. So basically every Canadian bank I had a credit card with, and mind you, it was legal. Obviously, I'm getting credit cards. You know, it's not hard to get a credit card at all. So, you know, I was of age and stuff like that. So yeah, now it was kind of like, okay, I want my car as soon as possible. Let's go look for cars. So Felix and Kimberly, they took me to look for cars. Mind you, Jared was always there. I remember having conversations with him after the fact, just kind of before my parents got involved and like really hit the fan. But I remember having conversations with him asking like, did you know all this is going on? And he would say that he was told a plan, maybe a more detailed plan than I was told, but he wasn't told the full thing. So I don't know, till this day I have no idea. Yeah, so we went to look for cars, you know, and I didn't even realize that this happened, but they ended up getting a car in my name. A Chrysler 300. Till this day, anytime I see a Chrysler 300 on the road, I cringe. I hate that car so much. Yeah, so they put a car in my name. And that's what I didn't know what I was signing. I remember going to this dealership, looking at cars, not thinking that I was going to be saying yes to a car or anything like that. I wouldn't want a Chrysler 300. Like, why would I want? That's so not me. Like, I would never sign or agree to a Chrysler 300. But I don't know. I don't know how it happened, but I remember I did sign for something. I signed for something, of course, didn't really read what it was. And yeah, so long story short, this is when kind of like the lifestyle got exciting. They would pick me up in this nice car that I didn't know was in my damn name. And they'd be driving me to like events and stuff where Jared would be performing. I felt like I was a part of this exclusive club, so it was all cool. So basically when it came down to the credit cards, I had about 7 in my name, 7 credit cards, 6, 7. I had quite a few credit cards in my name and I never saw them once. They took those credit cards right after I got them. They took them, and I know that like when you sign up for a credit card, they give you the option to like set up online services and stuff like that. So I had set that all up, and I remember writing down all my login information and stuff like that. And I also gave that to Kimberly. So Kimberly was someone who I trusted a bit more because obviously she's a female, a lot more bubbly, just like, you know, someone I can talk to, like an older sister kind of. So I gave her all my passwords and stuff like that, so they also had access to it. At first, yeah, for quite a while they were, you know, they would buy something, pay it off right away, like little things like buy Tim Hortons, pay it off right away. So I would be seeing all these transactions being paid off. So at first it was all good, you know, and then something ended up happening with Felix. No idea what it was, and it shit the fan. They kind of went MIA from what I remember. And then I was just like, shoot, my credit cards, they still have my credit cards. So I would be looking at my statement and I would still see that they were using the credit cards. But they would be, let's say they would do a $200 purchase, they would only pay back like $50. So they weren't paying like they were before, paying off the full thing 100% right after. They were only putting little payments. So it's kind of like they were trying to, I guess, subconsciously show me that, hey, like we're still putting money towards the credit card, but they were spending more than they were putting on. So at that point, I'm getting panicked. I'm talking to my ex like, yo, like what's going on? Why are they not paying off? Like I'm seeing all these huge amounts. And he would like call them and they'd be like, yeah, don't worry, like all good. Like, you know, we're expecting some money to come in from whatever things that they were doing. They're expecting some money to come in, and oh, once this money comes in, then they're going to put a huge lump sum, pay everything off. Cool, no problem. And then they would like give me a timeline. So, okay, in like a week would come and they would still not pay it. Oh, it got delayed. Okay, another week. And then the next week would come and still nothing. So I'm just like, what the hell? I decided to do a little bit of research, and I found that you can check like credit scores and stuff like that, which is associated with credit cards. You can check that all on Equifax. I decided, okay, let me order my credit score for the very, very first time. Mind you, at this point, they were behind quite a few payments. So it came to a point where they eventually just stopped paying. When I decided to order my credit score, I just wanted to see what was on my credit. Like, I just wanted to see what things were in my name, because at that point I didn't even know what was in my name. And I remember getting my credit score and seeing the score and being like, what? And the only reason why I knew that it was a horrible score is because it shows you on Equifax where you stand in the Canadian population. So, you know, oh, like your score is worse than this many percentage of people, or it's better than this many percentage. So I was in the bottom. My credit score was probably one of the worst that you can have. So yeah, so it was very, very bad. And that's when I really started to panic. And a lot of things started happening. You know, I got very depressed. I got very anxious. All that, including, you know, being a full-time university student at the University of Toronto, one of the best universities in, you know, North America. That was hard. That was difficult. I don't even know how I survived that, you know. I would always be crying. And so my friends and my family, they saw the difference, and I felt like I couldn't tell anybody because, again, like my ex was like, don't tell anybody, like it's fine, don't worry, you know, figure this out. And I was just like, when? I was really at that point just really like telling him like, we need to figure this out, like please. Just all this craziness started happening, and it got to a point where I had about $30,000 of debt in my name, unpaid for, and it ended up going to collections. Then we had collections calling. Mind you, with collections, let's say you have your cell phone number, they will find every other number associated with you. So they found my home number for some reason, and obviously my parents answered the phone. So eventually my mom was like, why are collections calling the house? And I was like, oh my God. Like, I tried to hide it for so long because they were calling daily, every day, over and over. And it got to a point where I had to come clean and I had to tell my parents. And that was hard. That was very, very hard, just to see. It was like I felt their hearts drop for me. Like they were so sad and angry and disappointed. And as a result, I just felt like crap. My mom's like, we have to file a police report. We have to, like, you know, these people can't get away with this. They took advantage of a young person. It was just scary, like, you know, even just having to go through the whole police process and stuff like that. Because mind you, I had to report it because it could have gone against me. I wasn't trying to, you know, be accused of something illegal that I didn't know what was going on, but because my name was on something that I didn't realize, that I would be the one taking the rap for it. I asked for the car back when I realized that it was in my name, because on Equifax it shows you what all is in your name. So I saw that I had a finance loan out for like $13,000. And so I was like, give me the car back, because at that point we're like, okay, we need to get the car back. We need to give it back to the dealership. We have to sell it. We have to get that chunk of debt out of my name ASAP. So I remember them trying to come to some sort of agreement with me. But when the police stepped in, there was no long talking, eh? There was no long talking. The police said, yo, boom, give us that back. But of course, the car was completely trashed. The car was completely trashed inside, outside. It was a hot mess. It was nasty. So me and my mom ended up going back to the dealership. I had to figure out which dealership it was, because I never drove to any of these places with them. I was always in the back seat and then they'd be driving. So I didn't know, you know, I'm very directionally challenged till this day. Like, I cannot go anywhere without a GPS. So it's really bad. But yeah, so at the time I was even worse and I didn't know where anywhere was. So we ended up finding the place and we ended up talking to the guy. I remember the guy's face who had sold the car. The guy was just trying to play dumb, like, oh, I didn't know. My mom's like, cut the crap, take back the car. When he appraised the car, he's like, this car is like not worth much at all. and we had to beg him to take the car back for more. So we ended up coming to some sort of agreement. If you guys watched my video on how I built my credit score back, I mentioned that I had a little bit of an inheritance that I received from a family member that I put towards this debt. So basically between that and between the dealer guy basically raising the price and ending up buying it back for more than he appraised it to be, those two things cleared the whole car in my name. Boom, done. It was done. So that was out of my name, and that took a huge chunk out of just what I owed. And then it ended up just being all those credit cards. So that's when I went to Credit Canada. I consolidated everything. I was able to, pay that off within a few months, within a summer. I grinded, got that out of my name. But yeah, that was just a really big learning lesson. I'm probably leaving a few details out, but it's neither here nor there. Really, the bottom line was that, I was naive. I thought that, okay, I need to help my boyfriend at the time to get to his goals, and so let me sacrifice everything. Like, that was basically what happened. To have my credit score completely ruined before I even used it, to have all this stuff happen to me where I was just depressed, it just goes to show that no matter what life hits you with, there is a way out. There is a way out. You might not be able to see it. Of course, at the time, I was not able to see any end. I thought this was it. I didn't know what to do. But it just goes to show that you can't do things on your own in this life. If it weren't for my parents stepping in, God bless them. If it weren't for them stepping in and having rational thoughts and being like, okay, this is what we have to do. We have to get the police involved. We have to do this. Once I came to the understanding that I would have to pay off the debt on my own, it was like, okay, Candace, boom, focus. There's no time to be sad anymore, be angry. We're gonna get this sorted out and we're gonna move on from it. And then we're gonna make a plan, we're gonna research, we're gonna get financially literate, and we're going to never, ever look back. And so, yeah, guys, honestly, I haven't looked back ever since. It's been, how many years? And in my video about me building my credit score, I showed you guys my credit score. Let me show you how much it's grown since that video. 1 second. So I filmed that credit score video about a month ago, I think towards the end of February, and I was very transparent and I showed you guys what my credit score was, which was in the low 400s at the time that this situation all happened. And then I showed you what it was at that time in February, which was I think 760 or 758. So since then, this is my credit score, 839. Excellent. It says your score of 839 is better than 92% of Canadian consumers. So that's where I am. So yeah, I now have an excellent, near perfect credit score. And it's been a journey, guys. It's definitely been the most crazy financial situation that I've been through. But honestly, it just goes to show that with perseverance, hard work, focus, you can overcome anything. Honestly, I know it sounds cliche, guys, but I never saw the end of this situation. At the time, back in 2015, I did not see the end of the situation. It was such a process after as well, right? Because when I consolidated that debt and I paid it off, even though I paid it off only within months, I paid it off so quickly and I really, really grinded just to pay it off right away. It still took 2 years for everything to fall off of my credit score. So in that 2 years, I was still rebuilding my credit. I got a credit card that it was specifically for rebuilding credit. So in the meantime, I was doing all that, but obviously I couldn't see huge changes to my credit score until 2 years later, until everything dropped off and then it went higher. And then now 3 years after that, in 2020, it's at the highest it's ever been. So it just goes to show, you got to be patient with these type of situations. You can't be hard on yourself. As long as you've learned a lesson, then honestly it was worth it, because had I not gone through this, I don't know if I would be as financially literate and smart as I am now. It was so traumatic to me and I'll never forget it, but I just really hope that anyone who's watching this and who has dealt with a similar situation where they've been taken advantage of by family, friends, strangers, and they're just trying to dig themselves out of this hole because they've been left to pick up the pieces. I just want those people to know that you will get out of it. You will sort it out in due time. You just have to be so laser focused. You have to be willing to sacrifice. You have to be willing to work multiple jobs. You have to just do whatever you can to get yourself out of the situation. Yeah, that's my story, guys. Sorry if it's kind of choppy and all over the place, but I was really just trying to think as I went along. But you know, I'm very blessed and grateful to be in the financial position that I am today and that I'm learning every day. I hope that this story was helpful to somebody, and it helped them to realize that, you know, you're not alone. So there you have it, guys. That is my little story time about how I was a victim of a credit card scam, I call it, honestly. I hope you guys enjoyed this little story time. Please go ahead and smash that like button if you did enjoy this video. I would really appreciate that. And comment down below, you know, have you gone through any type of situations like this? Of course, no pressure. You don't have to just like expose yourself if you don't want to, but I would love to hear if you're open to sharing. You know, have you dealt with a similar situation? And last but not least, don't forget to subscribe so you know when I post another video. And in the meantime, feel free to check out any of my other videos as well. I would appreciate that. But I hope you guys have an amazing day, week, and life, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!